Alright, we gotta do our intro, I guess.
What do we do?
I don't know, we don't really do anything, we just...
Sprinkles Radio.
Yeah, this beat is made by Fixo. Shout out Fixo. I really like these 3 group sounds. Let's go.
What's up, party people?
Alright guys, we're here with the one and only... Glitchcom.
Sprinkles Radio.
Welcome.
Hey guys, I was definitely gonna try and do some off-putting movie star stuff, but that just broke my character right away. So thank you guys.
The sunglasses go away immediately.
No, exactly. I'm I need to be so genuine right now.
Fair enough. What is the origin of Glitchcom? Even just the name.
Okay, so I started this project in the fall of 2019, so right before COVID, which is not an important detail, but I started it during the start of college. And so when I started making stuff, I had a name. It was originally going to be Digital Argument. I know, right? I know. And I show that to my buddy and he's like, "No, dude. You need something that's shorter, maybe 2 or 3 syllables." And I was like, "Okay, what's 2 or 3 syllables that kind of encapsulates the world that I want to make with my music?" And I was like, well, it's glitchy, it's noisy, it's abrasive, but it's also catchy, sticky, it's sweet. And I thought of bubble gum, and then I was like, glitch, gum, put it together, and I'm like, that doesn't suck.
That's pretty sick.
Digital Argument.
Amazing.
I know, right?
That just sounds like cancel culture. Just getting canceled online, the Digital Argument.
Digital Argument. Well, I wanted something that encapsulated the digital age, because the hyper pop thing is very modern and digital, and but then everyone was like, yeah, it's too long, and not good, and I'm like, fair enough.
I say Digital Argument is just Twitter and 4chan.
Yeah.
And Reddit.
4chan.
You're based out of Nashville.
Yes,
that's where we are. We are here.
You just doxed us, Andrew.
I'll have you know this address.
Why hyperpop?
Yeah, so I grew up listening to everything. I was super into pop punk growing up and stuff, and that was the music that my brother Seth and I really got into. But then as I was getting older, Skrillex just started popping up, and I was like, oh, I like this too. And so as the years went on, I just kept getting into everything. Loved electronic music, loved rock and pop music as well. And then when I got into college, that's when this album came out, 1000 Gex by 100 Gex, and I listened to it and I was like, this is everything that I want to do, and the personality felt like it matched with mine too, and I was like, I feel like this is what I need to do. So I just started doing it. And it's interesting because nowadays I feel like when I started the project, I was like, it has to be this, or it has to be Sophie or Charlie XCX or whatever. But now I'm bringing back some of the pop punk and the rock and pop that I was listening to back in the day. So it's cool to make it my own, I feel like.
Congrats on Blame on Me being out today.
Thank you.
Literally.
Appreciate it. It's actually out today.
Just not when
we're filming this.
Maybe there will be a couple more by the time that you...
It's June 7.
It is June 7th.
Yeah, so for clarification.
To date this podcast, yes. It is June 7th.
I definitely noticed way more pop punk. I have to ask, how much of the drums and stuff is organic, real drums versus programmed?
Ooh, okay. So for this upcoming album, we actually tracked a lot of live drums because my brother Seth, who co-produces and mixes my stuff and kind of helps me with everything, he's a drummer. And so when I was like, hey, I want to make more rock stuff, he's like, dude, I could put live drums over this. And I'm like, word. So a lot of what you're hearing is live drums with some samples baked in as well. What will happen is I'll make a demo and put splice pop punk drums on it, and then like be like, hey Seth, he's like, hey, like what if I played this and it sounded like more organic and real, but then we would keep like some of the like punch, like the extra punch of like the samples kind of thing. So yeah, it's really a mix of electronic and acoustic elements, really.
Organic guitars and everything too.
Yeah. We kind of played all those guitars and stuff. I play guitar enough to like write some stuff, you know, like
Sick, yeah.
that like very Midwest emo part. That's a part from Scro. Shout out Scro. He's an incredible producer and artist and guitarist. You might see him on TikTok and stuff. He's pretty dope. But other than that, it's kind of very home baked, really.
Where do you start with a song? Like especially on Sprinkles, a lot of it happens in the box, like in Pro Tools. Where do you start with?
Ooh, so also FL Studio and Logic.
Oh shoot, okay.
Yeah. I'm so new school. Yeah, no, I'm sure a lot of the audio heads are like turning their nose at me now, but well, because like I got FL Studio when I was young and I like wanted to make electronic music, and so that's what I ended up like really working on. So a lot of the crazy like hyper pop beats and stuff I'll do in FL Studio, and then because when I was growing up, FL Studio had a terrible audio recording function. I don't know if you guys know about this. So up until 2020, in every other DAW, you could record into the timeline, right? With FL, you had to record in like a mixer plugin and then drag that audio into your timeline. And it was ridiculous.
So could you hear the playback of the other tracks while you were recording, or would it always have to be separate?
No, if you put the plugin on like the one mixer track, like a separate mixer track, not the master, then you wouldn't hear anything except what you were recording.
Oh wow.
Especially if you had headphones. But I decided I did not like that, and it also so I got Logic, so I could record guitars and bass and vocals and all that stuff and make more organic things. But to answer your question, where I start with a song, it really depends. Like some of the work kind of like happens in my head, like when I'm like, maybe I'll write a song like on a drive or like in the shower. When I was growing up, I used to write a lot of songs mowing the lawn, you know, like I would just have ideas pop in my head. And then with the Glitch Gum project, what would happen in that case is I would go to the DAW and start producing it as I hear it in my head. So that's one way it would happen. Maybe I have a chorus and I'm like, okay, let me lay that down. Another way is like sometimes like some other beat makers, I will sit down and be like, okay, what am I going to do today? And then just start like programming some synths and then adding a beat to it and seeing where it goes. So it's kind of like starting with a guitar or something and sitting down with a guitar and being like, what chords are cool, or sitting down on the piano. But instead I'm just sitting down at my computer with my little trackpad, because FL Studio has a piano roll that you don't have to play into. And when I was 14, I really liked that. So now I'll just like click stuff in and be like, does this work? Do I like this sound? Is this inspiring me? So yeah, a couple different methods, but yeah, it's interesting to make something like in the box. And I think it's cool because it's like there's more at your disposal immediately, which could be a blessing and a curse, you know. I'm sure, like, yeah.
Yeah. Between the like vocal editing, like especially on Sprinkles, is like all over the place.
Oh,
and so
100%.
I'm like, that's got to be tough. And like, dude, is that a final mix thing, or you're like, no, I want to do that early on, and so you cut it up, or like,
yeah,
does that make sense?
Yeah. So a lot of the glitchy stuff will happen either like sometimes I get the ideas before I record, but then sometimes I'll like have it recorded and then sit down and be like, okay, I want to glitch it somewhere because there's space and I want to fill it. Well, actually, this is a funny story. I was featured on a song called Never Met with my friend CM10. It ended up being like my biggest song. It's like on TikTok. It went like viral on TikTok. The beginning of my verse starts with this really big glitch that has like low-key become iconic, not to toot my own horn or anything, but like that was going to be this crazy like vocoder mess of like glitch come. That was gonna be it, but I couldn't get that to work. Like it did not sound good on my little Logic vocoder, and so I was like, what could I do that's equally impressive to CM10 specifically? Because we were like talking about like the music that we liked, and we were into like all the very like stuttery hyperpop stuff. I was like, okay, just clip that. So like that's an example of like an afterthought. Same with like a track on Sprinkles, My Brain is Lasers. All those beat cuts and stuff was like, I want to make this more interesting, more like hyper, you know, like, so I guess you're right. It's not like necessarily a final mix thing, but it's like before it gets mixed, I will like add those things and just be thinking of them. Hyperness achieved.
Your music, it sounds all over the place, but the idea is very central. And I was wondering, what do you do to limit yourself in each song? Because I don't know, if I was starting in a DAW, I would see every possibility, and it'd be so hard for me to just really decide what idea I want to have. Like, you don't want to use all your ideas in one song.
Funnily enough, the answer is like I do try everything, and then I just realize like what sounds stupid or not.
It's like you pick and choose. You put all your ideas there, and then you keep the ones that you deem worthy of the song.
Oh yeah, no,
Okay,
for
that's
sure.
cool.
There have been like some drafts of some songs that where like I did something just to throw people off or just to get like cool points from like the hyperpop committee or whatever. Like in my head, I'm like, there's a committee of people like judging if I'm cool or not, and I have to throw this hard style outro in the song in order to gain their respect. But then I'll like listen again and be like, but that's not me. That doesn't feel natural to me. And so like I'll go back and like scale certain things. And honestly, like I wish I had some of that control like earlier, like in my process. Like I was really throwing like everything at the wall. I would have like songs with like 4 or 5 like synth counter melodies going at once because I'm like, I like space being filled. And then but then like as I got older, I'm like, you could fill that with chords, you could just make the bass fatter, or like harmony vocals, like, you know, like there's less distracting things you can do to fill that same kind of space. So that's kind of what I've been realizing. But in terms of like building a song, I mean, the forces that act against me are like my own critique of being like, you just did this so that you could do this, and really trying to combat that because that doesn't make genuine music. And then the other one being like, sometimes I just get tired. Like sometimes I've just been working on a song for so long that I'm like, that's it. You know, we're done now. There were some songs on the Sprinkles album, even some songs on the Movie Star album, where I did something and I was like, that just doesn't feel right. That feels like too weird. And like, I want to be weird. That's part of the project, is I want to make pop music but weird, but like there's a threshold, you know, and like sometimes I have to answer your question, sometimes I have to like hit it to realize where to scale back. So
Weird is a spectrum.
and I'm on it. Wait, should that even be in the thing?
That reminds me of a story real quick. So we all know the song Let It Go, right?
Yes, Frozen.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
yes.
So Christoph Beck was invited to write the background orchestra for that song, and he threw all his ideas on it. He's like, I get to write the score for an iconic Disney song, and I'm going to do everything I can to make it great. And the people in charge were like, yeah, that's a little too much. We're going to have somebody else do it. And I don't know.
Dang.
Oof.
So Christoph Beck scored like the soundtrack, but not the songs, I guess. So I don't know, that story just made me think of how like your old music had all those counter melodies and stuff, and then you realize that like, I don't know, sometimes it can be a little too much.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, like, to be honest, I would like send beats to other people like people who were like bigger than me, and then I like marginally, but like they'd be like, "Hey, I like this. I can't sing on it though." I'm like, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah,
okay.
that's probably why the Disney people didn't want that orchestra, because you can't like sing on it.
It's just crowded, like you're crowding the space that would be taken up by a vocal, and that's super important. And like growing up, I would watch all these like beat making videos of like people who have worked for like Juice WRLD and Trippie Redd, and they would always be like, make it simple, that way like the artist like has room to, you know, write over it. And I'm like, that makes sense. But then when I started the Glitch Gun project, I'm like, but what if I want to do it the opposite way? but what if I like all this stuff? And that was just like where I was at the time. And like really like as the project progresses, it's just like who I am like at the time. Anyways,
Field Parade.
how did you learn about the Field Parade? How do you know about that?
Tell me about it.
How do you know about that? Are you Nardwar?
Field
Parade. Okay, so oh my gosh, the Field Parade was one of my first like solo projects ever. This is when I was like 13.
Oh man,
Literally 13. And so I decided I want to make my own music, and it was like more of like an indie project. Like I was listening to a lot of like SiriusXM Alt Nation at the time, loved Churches and like older Glass Animals and like some like newer Interpol and Killers and stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this music, but I was making it in GarageBand. And it was, and like I had like 2 maybe 3 mics pointed to the drums, and like it was just bad. But one good thing that came out of it was I made an EP. It's called Angels. There's no copies of it ever. There's like a few, but what happened was this band, the Accidentals, they came to my school of rock, and they did a workshop about like, what's the word? About music and like being a musician and like going on tour and like actually doing it. And I was like, this is so cool. And so I gave them a Field Parade CD as they left, and I was like, this is my demo, like check it out, you guys are really cool. And then fast forward like 10 years later, like last year, I'm doing a show, and this guy, my friend Brennan, well, I didn't know him at the time, but my friend Brennan, aka Art Bob, and Katie, who I would learn is from the Accidentals, showed up, and I was talking to Brennan on Instagram. He was like, where's the show at? I'm like, it's here, pop out. We started talking in person, and then we were hitting it off, and I was like, oh, like Katie, like, do you do music too? And she was like, yeah, I'm in a band called the Accidentals. And I was like, hold on, wait. I gave you like a really bad demo from like when I was 13 years old. And she was like, oh my goodness, that's so funny. I'm actually a big fan of your music now. And I'm like, that's so crazy. And so long story short, the Accidentals played strings on the last song on the album, which was produced with Art Bob. Probably wouldn't have happened without the Field Parade.
Yeah, that's cool.
So on the last song on Movie Star?
Yes, the last song on Movie Star.
Also, that is the name of the album?
It is, yes.
Sweet.
Very
That's
cool.
And you are?
Glitch Gum.
Glitch?
Gum. Your Glitch Gum. We have to know.
Gene?
Pool. So Gene Pool was the band that I had when I was in high school. And this was like a pop punk band. And I was like, I want my own band, because me and my brother had a band for like years that I was like a part of, and I was like, I want to write my own music and like have a band to do it. So I did it with my childhood best friend, David. If you're out there, I hope you're doing well. And then we started the project, and then my brother left for college. So I was like, we don't have a drummer. So I started doing the drums. We got a couple of our other friends to play in it. And that's when the project started taking like a Midwest emo turn.
Oh wow, okay.
And that's when we started getting into like American football and Tiny Moving Parts and Algernon Cadwallader and stuff like that. And David was like, hey, what if we did this instead? And I'm like, I'm so down. We added another guitarist named Brody, and he was like, I like Fall of Troy. What if we did that as well? And so that was actually like soup. That was actually soup. No, that was actually super important for my journey because that was like the first band we were actually like doing stuff, like playing shows like in like the old middle school library or gymnasium, because like there was a DIY band studio that was helping put on these events, and so like we were actually gigging and stuff, so it was really beneficial. And then I moved out of Michigan and had to face the fact that this band would not be my life forever and ever. But I still love those guys. And yeah, that's funny. You really did your research, man.
I can't let you know who narked you. So just
I really don't know where you got the. I have a call to make after this.
No.
I know. I think I know who it is, but we won't get into it. Anyways,
who do you think it was?
It's probably Seth, wasn't it?
I can't narc, bro.
Oh my gosh. Anyways.
Oh, so you have old rap music too?
Yes, I did. It was definitely Seth. Yeah, so I thought I was a rapper like from like middle school to high school. It was bad. Like my older stuff was like so bad. Like I started getting into Aesop Rock and MF Doom, but when I was 14, I thought that, like this was when I was 14, guys, don't get mad at me. I really appreciate their art now, but when I was 14, I thought they were just saying words. Cuz they rhymed so well. I was like, how like can this rhyme so well and make sense? I didn't go on to Genius and like look up like the triple meanings. By the way, I'm like a massive MF Doom fan, so don't take this as a diss. This is just my like ignorant mindset. So like I went through so do you have the names?
Not of this, no.
Oh my gosh, there were so many. It was like Juvenile Humor at one point. I did go by Luke Huff at a certain point. I think that's what I stuck with. Oh no, Skywalker was one of them. They're kind of in bad taste. It was Skywalker bad. I really thought I was like gonna be a rapper when I grew up. Cause I listened to like a ton of Eminem and stuff. Towards like the end of high school, I started getting good, and then I realized that like maybe I shouldn't just like rap about being a good rapper. Maybe I should like have stuff to rap about, or else don't rap.
Yeah.
And so I started doing other things, and then coincidentally the next project was Glitchgum. Yeah. You're really like uncovering so much like lore.
When you wrote old rap on our little script thing, I was thinking like, oh, he listened to like 80s rap.
Oh, I did.
You did.
A Tribe
Okay.
Called Quest is like one of my favorite,
that's cool.
like probably top 20 groups. I love them, and like again, like love MF Doom and stuff like that. It's still like a part of like what I listen to, but it was just weird that for like so long of my life I decided to like make that.
Yeah.
But hey. This interview is killing me, bro.
The interview is glitching right now.
Not Glitchgum being SpongeBob.
We need your music in a SpongeBob movie.
Oh,
that would be
I
cool.
want that so bad.
Pitch it.
Nickelodeon.
Pitch it.
Whoever is currently creating SpongeBob right now, like, please let me know. I was about to say Steven Hillenburg, but rest in peace. Didn't he die?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a couple years ago.
It was very recent.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because like a lot of people have like, I'm just gonna go on a tangent here. A lot of people have like celebrity or like artist deaths that happened when they were young that like shaped them, but like all mine happened like when I was in college.
Oh, wow.
Like Sophie was like 3 years ago. MF Doom was like 4 years ago. Steven Hillenburg like 2 years ago. You know, Jimmy Buffett was like last year. Not that I didn't actually listen to a ton of Jimmy Buffett, but I really appreciate him.
Well, I mean, like when Neil Peart whatever died, I didn't know Rush, but it like prompted me to get into Rush.
Right.
So
Exactly. It's stuff like that. And it's funny. Yeah, like when I was growing up, like the one that really hit me was we were talking about Tribe Called Quest when Phife Dawg passed. Like when I was in 9th grade, I was like, whoa, this is like an artist that I listened to before they passing away. When I was 9, Michael Jackson passed away. But I was 9. I was like, who's Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
You know? Anyways.
Wait, when did Michael Jackson die?
Oh,
I knew he was dead. That's not.
Oh, 07 or something like that, right?
It was like somewhere around like 07, 09, like right before the 10s.
Huh.
If I was 9, it was maybe 2010. I'm dating myself. Maybe we clip that. Some people know. It's not like it's a secret. Nothing about me is a secret. I just don't talk about it. And apparently nothing's a secret now that you know the field parade.
It'd be crazy if I had the demos. Wouldn't that be crazy?
Do you?
No.
I was going to say, if whoever narked me had the demos for the field parade, that would actually be crazy because I don't even have them.
Oh, no way.
I don't. They're on like an old MacBook that passed away.
Oh man.
Dang.
Yes, I know. They're probably on a Seagate somewhere in the abyss, you know. That's another thing about Gene Pool is I didn't start putting out music online until Gene Pool.
Oh.
Because I wasn't like super online as a kid. You guys are about to hear like the worst Glitch Gum vocals you've ever heard. I was like 16.
What's a good song that we could do?
Just a Dream.
Yeah, we could just listen to it real quick.
Oh my God.
At least a little bit.
This is so embarrassing. Oh, you gotta get it on like the real speak.
Yo.
I don't know if it's worth the real speak.
You got to.
Imagine this like interview is the most popular interview of mine, and now everyone just knows. Hey, I mean, I would hope so. I would hope we see success off this interview, but I also would not hope that people listen to Gene. I will say not because of the band members. I love you guys, but because of me specifically.
How loud is this master? Do you know?
Not very
It can't be.
loud.
It can't be that loud. Yeah,
It
no.
really isn't that loud. See? That like feedback from the amp. All direct in, baby. Pretty good riff, actually. How much effects do you want on the vocals? No. None. Absolutely none. Oh, it gets worse. And by worse, I mean better. There might be a voice crack in this one. I don't know. This was pushing my range back in the day. I think we can pause now.
Okay.
I mean, that's about it. Like you'll get a kick out of how this guitar solo is mixed, and by mixed I mean not mixed. So loud. Sorry, David, you deserved so much more than this. It's a good solo, though.
Bluesy.
A very virtuosic solo to put in a pop punk song. That was kind of our vibe for like the first like 6 months of the Gene Pool project, and then we just decided to tap everywhere. Needless to say, I've gotten better at producing and mixing.
You sure? I'm just kidding.
Honestly, sometimes I don't know. Sometimes even now I'll be making a song and be like, does this suck? Did I forget how to make music?
What has been the biggest piece toward getting better as a producer, a mix guy, etc.?
Oh my goodness. Well, part of it is like experience. For me, like I just have been listening to more music and listening more intentionally, and like just been like critiquing my own stuff like a little like more, I guess, harshly for lack of a better term. But the other part of it is like people who don't know me are listening now, which is really weird. And so like that kind of motivated me to be better. Like I was making Glitch Gum stuff before Never Met, but when that happened, I was like, oh, now I get to take it seriously, because like I honestly didn't think people would like it, because like I was doing stuff that like I wasn't really hearing a ton of people do at the time, especially in Nashville. So I was like, this is just for me, so I can like do what I want to it and get better for my sake. And I like getting better for my own purposes. Like that's something that motivates me. But then when other people that I didn't know started saying, hey, I like this, I'm like, oh, I have to make it better for them. So a lot of this is like just like for the growth, really. And like I think my process has just changed. Like I think I do something so often that I realized that maybe that was a poor choice. For example, like Sprinkles has so many tonal snares. Like even if I had like regular snare samples, I would like go in Serum and like do a doop, like on the snare hit, because I was like, that's what I really like that. But then I did it so much, and then I heard the mixes back, that I was like, you know what? Like this was definitely a choice, and maybe I don't make that choice like again. You know, like I just like grow and like realize like where my music is lacking and try to like get better at it.
So it's learning by doing.
Learning by doing, really.
Okay.
Like I mainly just learn from experience, like in my life, really, and especially with music.
Actually, how did Never Met happen? Like it was funny because I told my cousin about your music, and he was like, oh my gosh, dude, I remember when that song blew up. I freaking love that song. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah.
That's really funny. The funny part about this whole interview is I did not tell these people about my music when I met them. We were just like playing stuff, and then like you asked me a question, I was like, wait, how do they know about this? But anyways, to answer your question, so Never Met happened. So we just got on lockdown. Like this was like around March 2020, and I just started putting out music. It's not on Spotify anymore because it was like the early stuff, but I put out one song, and then CM10 came across my music from me like reposting other like hyperpop artists and stuff, and like them reposting me just like on some like support stuff, and then CM10 posted my song, and I was like, oh cool, like someone likes my music, that's cool. And he hit me up, he's like, hey dude, I heard your music, I think it's really sick, would you like to get on a song? I'm trying to do this hyperpop thing as well. And I'm like, dude, like, of course, like, what do I have to lose? Like, I had never done like a Glitch Gum feature before. So I was like, dude, sick. He sends me Never Met, and it's like almost exactly how you hear it. Like he added a couple sound effects and stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is crazy. I need to go like so hard on this that it's stupid. And so like I was moving my stuff from college, and I was like in the back of a truck thinking like, I wish we never met. What comes after? And I spent like a good 5 minutes thinking about it, and I was like, what would Laura Less from 100 Gex do? Maybe say like make a pop culture reference. I was like, PictoChat, let's go. We broke up on PictoChat, crying on my DS. And then when that
Yeah, I remember hearing that live for the first time, and I started laughing.
it made
respectfully laughing.
No, it's okay. It made me laugh too.
Okay.
And when I wrote that, the floodgate for the verse like opened. Like as soon as I like let myself go, I was like, okay, I know exactly where to go with this. Did my verse, laid it down. Like I said, added glitches and like little pitch bends, like that part that everyone knows wouldn't be a thing like if I didn't think about it after I recorded my verse. Like this was all after. And like part of it was like I didn't know if anyone besides us was going to be listening to the song. So I was like, I'm going to do this for CM10 because I think he's really cool, and I want him to think I'm cool too. So I send him my verse, we make the song, we shoot like little videos, and he's like, dude, this is going to be like a big song for us. And I'm like, I agree with the sentiment, but like the music industry, I don't think works like that. And it's funny because Seth was like, dude, that PictoChat line is going to go crazy on TikTok. I'm like, haha, you're just saying that. we put the song out, like it hits 1,000 plays within a week, which was fame for me. I was like, don't talk to me, like no, I'm kidding, but like and then it just like it kept going, and people like kept making TikToks to it, and then like by like July, Lil Huddy made a TikTok to it, and I was like, what? And then like within a week the song hit 1 million plays, and I was like, this is just ridiculous, this is just insane. So yeah, it just happened very organically, and it's funny because like everyone around me was saying like this is gonna be a hit, and I just like didn't think that's how the music industry works. Like I thought word of mouth was like out of date at this point, you know.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know about the power of TikTok, so really like thank you guys, like that song like absolutely changed my life for real.
And then Life After the Demise of Planet Gumball came out how long after that?
Like a year-ish after Never Met.
Did you start working on it immediately after that kind of blew up, or were you already working on it?
I was already working on it like as I was working on Never Met. Like I think I wrote my verse for Never Met, and then very shortly after or shortly before I wrote the song Planet Gumball. And around this time, like when big like music industry people were talking to me, and they were like, we love Never Met, like what else do you have to show us? I was like, pizza? And like it was like pizza and Hi, My Name is Glitchgum, which were like weird songs to show someone right after Never Met. So yeah, I was working on that project like around this time, so it was very influenced by like that, like songs like Attention Horse and Miss You Being Mine I wrote after Never Met.
Did you feel a lot of pressure of like, whoa, wow, I just had a hit, I gotta like deliver right now?
Kind of, yeah, for sure. Like I was like, whatever I like put out needs to be like really good. And because like of the demos I had at the time, I did not, like in hindsight I would have put out Attention Horse first, but I did not have that at the time. So everyone around me, like my parents, the lawyer I was hiring, like my friends that I was just sharing the song with, like they were like, pizza is the one, like we love this song. And I'm like, okay, cool, everyone is saying that this is gonna be the one. I put it out, it flops so hard.
No way.
Yeah, no, like I got like 2,000 streams on the first weekend, which was awesome, but like after that, like the streams were not like doing it. They definitely weren't doing Never Met numbers, which like I don't care about that at this point, but like coming off of Never Met, I was like, this is devastating, no one cares. Which was funny because this might be a question that you have, but like the next thing I put out after Pizza was the Kyoto cover. I put that out and I was like, well, it's just gonna like do its thing, you know, maybe I just had my moment, and like I'm just gonna start making music, and like I'll put Kyoto out before my next single, like just as an end of the year treat. And then it ended up doing that thing. Do you guys want me to get into that story?
Yes.
I guess.
Yes.
Okay, incredible.
Story time
Story time.
with Glitchko.
So what happened was, so yeah, literally we were quarantined again. I was in, well, actually no, this was still like the same quarantine. We were about to go to school.
Would that be spring of?
This was like fall of 2020.
Oh, okay.
I think this is on the internet, so I'll say it. Like I went to Belmont, and
It is on the internet.
it is on the internet. Yep. And like during that time, like we were like, are we gonna go in person during the fall? Are we not? We decided we would like take like a month to do like at home Zoom classes, and so during that month, a bunch of my friends were listening to Phoebe Bridgers and stuff, and I was like, I gotta check this out. I knew some Phoebe Bridgers, but I really started digging deep, and I was like, this is so sick. And I was like, what if I did like a hyper pop version of a Phoebe Bridgers song? And so I was looking at my options, and I was like, well, if I cover a song like Funeral or Moon Song and make it hyperpop, like the Farbs are coming for me. I'm like, I might as well like stick with one that's already upbeat. And I loved Kyoto. Like Kyoto was my first like Phoebe Bridgers song.
Same, I think.
That I heard. Yeah. And it really drew me into that whole world. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I did a little snippet, put it on TikTok. And it started like getting like some pretty good traction. I was like, that makes sense. Like it's a cover. We love covers. Someone clipped it, put it on Twitter, and Phoebe quote tweeted that tweet. And I was like, first of all, where's my watermark? She doesn't know this is me. Second of all, I need to make a full version of this like ASAP. But this was around the time that Pizza was coming out. So I was like, okay, I got to roll this song out and then I can focus on this. So Pizza came out, did its thing. I started working on this version. And I wanted to talk about this because I was talking about doing weird things just to be weird. The original outro to Kyoto was like, this like I sped up the tempo and did this like gabber thing really just to like be unorthodox and
From the Church of Hyperpop.
literally I need my approval, please. But literally like I sat with it for a day and I'm like, this is stupid. I should just like do like that drop that I had like in the second chorus is sick. I should just extend that. And people really like that part, so I'm glad that I went with my gut on that. So put that cover out, shot a little video with my like friends who are like kind of in my bubble, borrowed like someone's Phoebe Bridgers Halloween suit for the cover.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, I borrowed the suit from the friend who was taking the videos and the pictures for the album artwork. I was like, this makes sense. I'll pay you to wear your clothes and take my pictures. But as I was doing that, I see on my Instagram story, one of my really good friends was like, I just got this skeleton onesie. And I'm like, bestie, could I borrow that like immediately actually? Like, I know you just got this, but could I please? It's important, I swear. And so put the song out. I'm sorry, I ramble a ton.
No, it's all interesting.
Awesome.
It's great.
I love this. I'll probably take this off at some point. I'm just getting out of here. You brought out the field parade. I started sweating. But I put the song out, and then like a couple days later, it's coming off. It's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. So I put the Kyoto cover out, and then within like 2 days of releasing it, I get a DM from Phoebe's drummer, Marshall. It was like, hey, what's up? This is really sick. We should like make some music together. So we started like making music for like other people. We did a Rebecca Black cut. Do you know about this?
Oh
No.
Yeah, like he was like, I'm gonna be in the studio with Rebecca Black in a couple of weeks. Would you like to send beats? And I'm like, sure, but why? Because this was before the Friday Hyperpop remix dropped. So I was like, is she just doing pop music now? I sent a bunch of beats. We ended up doing a song called NGL, which is on Spotify. It's on the Rebecca Black Was Here EP, which is like her reinvention into hyperpop and stuff. So we were doing a bunch of that. We're keeping in touch. I get a call from him, and he's like, dude, I was just out for breakfast like with Phoebe and Tony and the team, and she said she wants to sing on your Kyoto. And I was like, what? I was like, is that real? I just kind of like, I didn't put it off, but there was nothing to like act on yet. But I was like, if this happens, cool. If it doesn't, like, cool. The next week, he's like, hey, could you send me the stems? Like, Phoebe's in the studio right now. And I was like,
wild.
I was like, what do you mean I just sent them to you? He's like, hey, could you joink? I was like, fastest I've ever sent anything in my life. I remember it to this day. And then like, so that's like how it happened. And like everyone asks me like, did you meet Phoebe Bridgers? And not in person yet, manifesting. But people are asking like, hey, did you meet Phoebe Bridgers? And like the story I have is like, I was on the phone with Marshall one day, and he's like, By the way, I'm with Phoebe. Hands the phone over to Phoebe. Before I can even say anything, I hear, "Hey, dude," and I go, I go, "Hello, Phoebe. How are you?" And she laughs, and I think it's because she knows I'm like trying to be so cool right now. It's so funny because when like me and Marshall and Rebecca got on a call as well, and she goes, "Hi, Luke." I'm like, first of all, how do you know my name? And second of all, I go, "Hi, Rebecca, how are you?" Like, that's just my, like, well, because, like, obviously, like, artists are people too, so I want to treat them like that. But it is really funny that my response was, "Hello, Phoebe, how are you?" And she was just like, "I love the song, excited to get on the remix. Yeah, just wanted to say what's up." But I definitely think about that moment a ton because it's like, that's so surreal.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So now I'm the hyperpop Kyoto guy. Honestly, like, that was a very, like, cool, like, part of my life. And the fact that I got to, like, share it with, like, a lot of my friends at the time was, like, really cool.
And then Gumball came out.
Yeah, Gumball came out June of 2021. That was really sick. And then, like, a couple months later, the Phoebe remix came out. And then I was just, like, cooked. Like, I didn't have anything else. I was working on Sprinkles for, like, 2 years.
Wow.
Like, as Planet Gumball was being mixed, and the Kyoto remix was happening, and I was working on the Rebecca song, I was working on Sprinkles, like, the early, like, the AM block, like, a lot of the early, like, hyperpop stuff I was working on in my dorm. And then, like, when it came to finishing the album, like, school really got in the way. And so, like, I was like, what do I do? But I eventually ended up finishing the album, and then it took a while to figure out when to release it and how to release it. And we decided, because I've been working on this album for so long, it might make sense to, like, split it up so that people can digest it a little better. So I have, like, the AM block and the PM block, because the first half is very, like, hyper pop electronic oriented, and the second half is a little more like a organic rock kind of influenced. So it made sense. I released it on Spotify. Like, I released the first half, like, in April.
I see.
And then I released the second half in, like, June, and then I put out the full thing in July. So music on Apple to Codependent is the AM block.
Got it.
Down to Everybody's Gotta Leave is the PM block. And then for the release, I put the Sebi remix on as a little treat.
Solid.
The Sebi remix actually happened, like, after the album was, like, done and, like, being ready to release, because I put out Brain is Lasers, and people were like, "Yo, you know who would sound great on this? Sebi." And I was like, you know what? I had contact with him, like, during COVID. Like, I should hit him up and see what happens. Got him to do the verse. I was stoked.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so fun.
What I like about the AMPM, I didn't know anything about it, but
Yeah.
I like how a lot of albums even now have an A-side, B-side feel to them, like a vinyl record, like 20 minutes on each side. So
Yeah.
do you know how long is Sprinkles? Do you know?
Sprinkles is, like, a little over half an hour, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so if you were to release this on vinyl, it'd be a cool artwork thing if you, like, put AM PM on, like, the A-side, B-side.
That would be so
like,
sick.
yeah, if that ever happens.
I would
buy it.
I would love to. I need the means to, like, make vinyl. If you guys would buy vinyl from me, let me know, because I want to make vinyl.
Comments.
Leave it in the comments, please. Because, like, we had some crazy ideas for, like, the Sprinkles, like, making, like, a clear vinyl, but with, like, multicolored sprinkles.
Oh, yeah,
on
wait,
it.
I have an example of that. Hold on. You know this album?
Yes. Okay, Human.
Yeah, will it look like that?
Yo, that's sick.
Yeah, but, like, a little more, like,
The color of the sprinkles.
like, splattered
Yeah.
more, like, less in the center, more on the edges, like, on the grooves.
Oh, yeah.
Would be so sick.
That would be really hard to make it on the edges, though.
Oh, not the edges, but, like,
Everywhere.
around here.
Not,
Yeah.
not
Like,
such
this is coming from the center. I want it to be, like, scattered around.
Okay.
You know, like, sprinkles.
It's really hard to make it, like, how they make it is they put a bunch of colored pellets. They have a wax putty type thing that's all balled up, and then they put I guess you could call them sprinkles. It's the colored pellets, and then when they smush it down, the pellets melt, and it streaks them like that. So it's really hard to control where it goes. So if you would want it to be crazy, they would need to put a lot of pellets in. I don't know.
We're putting leaves in vinyl now. I don't know if you saw that.
Leaves.
Who's doing this?
That's pretty cool.
We're making vinyl records with people's ashes. I mean,
Yes, that is a thing. I did see
There's a
that.
Flaming Lips album that has blood of the producers and musicians in it.
What?
Yeah, they're going for like $1,000 right
Oh
now.
my
Bro,
gosh.
so now you're on your third full-length album.
Yes.
What's it like? What's it feel like?
It feels weird because up until the Glitch Gum project, I could never make an album. Like the old Gene Pool, both Gene Pool EPs were supposed to be albums, but I didn't write enough songs that made the cut. Like we would always like cut more songs that would just turn into an EP. So it just felt like I was never like meant to make an album. And so when I started the Glitch Gum project, like the first thing that I did was an EP because I was like, that's feasible. And then after I completed that, I was like, okay, maybe I can make an album ? And so I always wanted to make an album, but then it just happened and I was like, wait, I can do this now. And then I did it again and I was like, I can do this. And so by the third album, I was like, okay, I could make albums. How do we like, but how does this differ from like the last albums, you know? That's kind of like what I'll think about going into a project. Like when I made Planet Gumball, it was like I made it kind of a concept album. Like there was a theme that tied it all together. There was kind of a storyline. It was a pretty ambitious project for a debut. And so when I made Sprinkles, I was like, I don't want any of that. I just want to make songs and make them all really good. And then like even like down to the title was like Life After the Demise of Planet Gumball. Super long. So I wanted this one to be like one word ! And I just blurted out Sprinkles, and that ended up being it. And then for Movie Star, it was just like, okay, I made the song Movie Star. It might be out by the time that you see this.
It might.
And then I was like, what if I like low-key became a pop star? Like what if I pretended to be like a pop artist for an album? That would be cool, huh?
That might work marketing wise because people would think that the filming of it was organic and not staged, and they'd be like, who's Glitch Gum? I need to know who this guy is.
Right.
So Sprinkles is not a concept album?
It's not a concept album, but there's the Sprinkles radio theme that ties it together. I love having something that ties an album together. So like there's even like a device in Movie Star that kind of ties it all together with these like little tags. But like with the Sprinkles radio concept, like I wanted something that made all of these songs that were in all these different like sonic spaces feel like they made sense. So like if you were listening to a radio station, you would get like a variety of everything. So I decided to make these little radio tags, and Seth and I like made a little jingle and stuff.
I love it because I was thinking about this on the drive over here. It's like a nice marketing thing of like, oh, hey, if this song is on a playlist or something, but somebody hears Sprinkles Radio off the top, it's like, what does that mean? That I want to hear more Sprinkles Radio.
I want to try to listen to the album, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Like in the world of playlists, we need something that leads people to listen to full albums.
Oh,
and so
yeah.
I really think that's a great move, and I like it a lot.
Thank you. I definitely learned that from like a lot of like my hyperpop influences, like Underscores and Tour, and like, so people have been making like albums that like have a theme and they'll have like a bunch of tags like related to it. And so like I wanted to do something like that for this album and the next album. So like, I mean, like, I guess I'm talking about it like it's a spoiler, but if you've heard Blame on Me, there's a tag that goes, do you want to see a movie? And I like tried to put that in like as many songs as I could for this project, and so like that's a little fun Easter egg that you'll see later.
Do you consider this a concept album or not?
Kinda, yeah. You'll see. Like, I hesitate to call it a concept album because like not every song is about the concept, but there is like a concept and a theme that was kind of like being perpetrated as I was making this album, and you'll see it for sure, even in like the promotion and the marketing, which I kind of blew right out of the gate. Like, please stream my album, even though it's just me in a white t-shirt and not in a leather jacket and sunglasses.
It's glitch gum, not the plain white tees.
We're having fun here.
When are you releasing this?
Soon.
Oh,
I this album's coming out in the fall. I'm really excited about it. I definitely have a lot more that I'd like to give to the world before it comes out, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's a long ways away, I know, but like you don't know what I have planned in between, so stay tuned. Don't lose interest in me, please.
I'm not.
Are you gonna have a release show? Please.
Yes,
Yes.
for sure.
In Nashville.
In Nashville, for sure.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be on the release date because there's some other shows that I'm planning and other life things, but like I want it to be close. Especially I've thought of this because like I did an album release show for Sprinkles, and it just kind of felt like a whirlwind to people because like the album comes out. Now we're celebrating it. I kind of want to do it after the album comes out so that people can maybe experience it and then kind of have like this cathartic moment where we all know the songs and kind of something like that.
I dig that.
There's like a benefit to either of those. Like I loved like sharing Sprinkles, like it's finally out, let's celebrate, because that was a milestone to me. I've been working on this album for 2 years, but I want it to mean something to people as well, kind of like an album comes out and then you go to the tour like 3 months later kind of thing.
How long has Movie Star been in the works?
Honestly, like this has been one of the shortest album processes for me. Not as short as Planet Gumball in terms of writing, because that one took like 9-10 months. It was pretty short. That's probably the shortest for sure. This one took a year, like a whole year to write and record, and then we were mixing it for like 2 to 3 months and get it mastered in a week. It's amazing now that I just like work and make music, and then part of my work is my music, how fast this was able to come together. I'm really stoked about it. So, I mean, I can understand if it's jarring for someone like, well, Sprinkles Deluxe came out in February and we already have a single in June. Like, what is this? Like, I have this album ready to go and I want to put it out. So, very excited for it. Yay.
What is your writing process? Do you listen to music as you're writing or no?
Oh, yeah, 100%. I was listening to a ton of music that influenced this, and the biggest thing that I'm like excited for about this album is like how different it is from the stuff that I've put out, cuz like I was really leaning more into like my pop and rock influences, cuz I've been really getting into like more rock and indie and like more pop punk and more hyper pop artists that blend those genres as well. And I was like, I just kind of want to, like, this is where I'm at in my life. I kind of just want to try my hand at like actually making pop music and rock music, but putting my little twist on it. So I was listening to a ton of like stuff you would think of for me here. Let me pull this out actually.
Oh yeah. It is time.
Yeah. Underscores was a huge influence. This is the album Wall Socket, and this really played a part in a lot of the more experimental like elements of the project, because this album covers everything from like garage rock to like French house to like shoegaze to like just straight up folk. And so like hearing this album while I was making my album, I was like, I can put some more like genres that you wouldn't expect into this. And also like earlier Underscores albums like Fishmonger and Fearmonger like have this really nice blend of indie and pop punk with electronic elements. So I was really inspired by that. And albums of the like that have been popping up in the scene, like Luca by Gabby Start or Molecule by Tor, a little bit of Hypochondriac by Breakends for sure. So a lot of hyperpop influence in like the crevices of like the songs that I was like making, but I was at my core like definitely listening to like jangle pop from the 90s, like some like Cranberries a little, and like the some like getting influence from like the Smiths and stuff like that.
Okay.
Or there's even some like artists in the scene, like my friends Ryan Hall and Atlas in Motion, artists like James Ivy, who were like putting these like the 90s like the kind of like jangly pop influences into their music. I was really inspired by that, so I started listening to a ton of that and like digging into that a little bit. And then I was listening to going back to the 1975 and like 80s style like modern pop I was really listening to. And then when I get into my pop punk phase, I always go back to Blink 182. That's like one of my biggest influences ever. So, and like just the way that they had so much energy, but they could write a pop hook was crazy to me. So that was definitely something going in. And then like there were some more off the wall influences. Like during the time I was making this album, Wall Socket came out, and then the album Census Designated by Jane Remover came out. And this is a hyperpop artist who made a shoegaze album. Like just a straight up incredibly edited. Well, by incredibly, I mean like beautifully, not like heavily, but like it's like electronically edited shoegaze. And I was like, I want to do that for something. That'd be so cool. And I was still listening to like my Phoebe Bridgers and my Big Thief and stuff. Like would love to have some of their sentiments in here. I made this album in the year of 2023. And so much good music like came out in the year. Like the Boy Genius record came out. Those albums I was talking about came out. Being Funny in a Foreign Language came out like the year prior. So I was just like in a good time to be listening to music and being influenced by stuff. There's a song on this album where the reference was Last Friday Night by Katy Perry. I was like, I want to make like a song that like hits like this with the summery guitars and the crazy beat and everything. So it's a lot of stuff. Very long-winded, but like bottom line, I'm just excited for my fans and people who listen to my music to see the different like side of Glitchgum, you know. I think it's going to be really cool.
It definitely struck me how different it was from Sprinkles, but it kind of, at the same time it feels like a return to like Pizza and Sabrina a little bit.
Right.
But like more dialed in,
refined for sure. Like when I always have been into pop punk. This is probably the 5th time I'm saying this on this podcast, but that was always been an influence for me, and so I just wanted to channel that. But the way I did it like early on was like just like super like energy and stuff. It was also like very tongue-in-cheek, and so like to come back and like make like, for lack of a better term, like more serious pop punk songs, like it feels good but like still having that energy. So yeah, a lot of this album has been like taking influences that already I've had but refining them and like more dialing them in more, and like taking that layer of irony, kind of removing it a little and being like, what if I just made this kind of music and did what felt natural to me instead of like doing it from like an angle, you know? Because I felt like I had to when I was making like Planet Gumball, because people really liked my goofy like side, and that that's what people still like, and I'm still happy to do that. But as I get older, I just want the music to mature as well.
This might not go on the pod, but I was curious as a individual. What is your partnership with Bocchetto Media? Bocchetto?
Oh yeah,
Media?
Bocchetto. It is Bocchetto. So, do you guys know the YouTuber Jared Alonji?
That strikes a bell for some reason.
He did the Every Pop Punk Vocalist video.
Oh yeah.
He
yeah.
does Sunrise Skater Kids.
Okay.
And everything. He's incredible. He runs a company called Bocchetto Media, and they are a creative project management company. They've done stuff for, the band Bill Murray? Bilmuri. No. It is supposed to sound like Bill Murray. Bill Murray, the actor.
Bill Murray, like
Yeah.
Groundhog Day,
wow.
okay.
Yeah, but it's Bill Murray. It's the guy from Attack Attack. You weren't a MySpace kid?
No.
The Attack Attack was like a scene core band from like the mid 2000s. So like honestly,
Schooled us.
honestly, like they're responsible for some of like the hyper pop metal crossovers we see today, because they would do like a post-hardcore song into like a rave breakdown. They were sick.
Okay.
But Bill Murray, so Jared does project management for a bunch of different artists through Bocchetto Media, and so I decided to partner with him for this project, because he heard about my music a couple years ago, and we had been in talks and stuff, and he was like, would you like me to do some stuff for your project? I'm like, absolutely, because like I need to get this album off the ground. He also helps me with my merch, like printing and stuff, so yeah, he's been a really, really good asset for my career at this point, because I can't do everything by myself. Which is surreal that I get to say that, but yeah, he's been really cool and helped me like put myself out there more with my music, which has been something I've been trying to do post Never Met, post Kyoto. Like, how do I capture this like flash in the pan thing that it feels like?
Yeah, I have two questions.
Yes.
First one, you said your song got reposted by the 10. What was his name again? No, the 10 MC. The guy
CM10.
CM10. Yeah, he reposted one of your songs on his story. What song did he repost?
Good question.
Oh, it was a old song called Piano Teacher. You can find it on YouTube.
Okay.
But it's not on Spotify. But it was
Okay.
my first song that I ever put out.
Okay.
And
Cool.
he reposted it.
Have you interacted with your fans that found your music through the 10? I can't even remember his name. The 10,
CM10.
Yeah, CM10 or the Kyoto remix. Like, have you interacted with anyone? Has anyone like DM'd you, or just, I don't know, what do you have any interactions with fans like that?
Yeah, I definitely, like, people will DM me and be like, hey, dude, like, I loved Never Met, like, when it came out, like, it was an important song, like, during quarantine, like, just wanted to say what's up, sounds like you've been killing it. And I, like, back in the day, I used to respond to, like, everyone, because I was like, I love, like, talking to fans, and then, like, there would be some people who, like, I would respond to them, they'd be like, hey, can you do a feature for free? And I'm like, so, like, but one of my favorite things is having interactions with fans, like, when I went on tour last summer and went to the Midwest and, like, saw people that don't even know me by name, but like my music, and they're like, I've been listening to you since 2020 and I keep up with you, like, your music means a lot to me. I'm like, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely try to like interact with my fans. Obviously there is a threshold for that.
Yeah.
As an artist and as a person,
Mhm.
Don't make a joke about that, because I'm not even going there. There have been some really cool people that have hit me up and have been like, hey, like, and I've made some really cool music friends through that too. Like, actually, Melissa Brooks, who's featured on Attention Horse and is part of the band The Aquadolls, found me through Never Met, and then hit me up. I was like, this song is so cool, I want to make music with you. Also, do you want to be a part of the Subculture Zoom parties? Because there was like these hyperpop Zoom parties that were happening during COVID, and then they went back to in person, and I got to play in Los Angeles a couple of times through Subculture off of like that Instagram interaction. I actually met Laura Less at one of those.
There's a feature with 100 Gex, right?
There is a 100 Gex remix of Never Met.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I had virtually nothing to do with that. That was CM10 and his team and their genius. But I remember getting a call from CM10 being like, I have to show you something. And like listening to it, and like the production was different because 100 Gex is crazy at production. And I was like, this is so sick. And then he's like, wait for it. And then Laura and Dylan started singing, and I was like, no, shut up. I screamed like so loud. I was like,
Was it like,
pretty much. I was like, trying to do a Wilhelm scream, can't do it.
oh my.
Good heavens, the track is a banger.
Do you have any haters stories?
Oh my goodness, yeah. When the Kyoto remix came out, all of Phoebe's fans was like, who from the label made her do this? Like, I just imagine someone at Dead Oceans going, the kids are really into this hyper pop. People were coming after me.
Dude.
It was crazy. And like, it bummed me out for like maybe a night. But then like, it's just funny. Like I still get hate like every now and then, but it's just funny because it's people like saying like wild blanket statements, or like with the Kyoto remix, they'd be like, this sounds like the Lego movie. This sounds like Wreck-It Ralph. I'm like, awesome. I love both of those movies.
Yeah, me too.
I grew up watching those movies and I thought the music was sick. So thank you. But like, I get it because like this was one of the first times like a folk hyper pop like cross cultural thing happened, and at this point Phoebe had just gone on SNL, and so like she was getting like more like mainstream like pop fans, but a lot of her fans were like fans of Elliott Smith and Bob Dylan and like Nick Drake and stuff like that, and so they were really into folk, and she was like kind of carrying that tradition. So obviously when they hear my song, and you know what, I still get hate on the Kyoto remix to this day from Phoebe fans. Like I'll see on Twitter, they're like, my day be so fine, then boom, Kyoto glitch come remix.
Oh my god.
But it just makes me like laugh because I'm like, a song affected you that bad? Like,
really?
I'm so sorry. Like, music is just music, and it's like, it's really funny that my music affects you like that heavily. It's cool but it is cool when someone's like, this song like saved my life, for lack of a better term. Like, still, it is kind of crazy to think like, oh, music can do that. But
True. I actually love when I hate a song off the first. Like,
Oh,
there's been certain albums and stuff I've listened to. I'm like, I hate this. This is terrible. And then I'm like, that was really cool that I hated it. I think
I felt cool about that.
No, there was an interview that I watched with some artist. I can't remember who it was, but they were like, it's actually kind of funny that music can even bring up the emotion of hate in you. And I was like, that's really fascinating. Even though I hate how this sounds, I'm gonna listen to that again. And that's how I got into like rap. But yeah, and then I was like, wow, I actually really don't like this. And I was like, no, this is awesome.
It's really cool. Like, I mean, like, that's kind of been my mentality, is I used to like not like certain genres, but now if you ask me, like, I pretty much like anything. Or here's the thing, I don't think there's like bad music unless you are not paying attention to like keys and rhythm and stuff like that. Like, if you make something that's like a-tempo, atonal, well, even that is considered music.
I was gonna say, there's some really great stuff out there.
There is some great atonal music out there, but like, yeah, no, it's all subjective. So like, who am I to hate on another artist or to hate on someone for liking another artist? I could just say it's not for me.
Yeah, there's like times and places for every kind of song. Like, there's a reason that pop songs get played in
Exactly.
the mall over house speakers and stuff like that, and there's a reason that they don't play King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard Flying Microtonal Banana over the house speakers. There's a reason.
Exactly. And you know what? That was something I was learning while I was making Movie Star, is I learned like how to make music that vibes. Because as I get older, I realize the importance of that. Like, I used to like rag on like some mainstream pop music for like being too simple, or like the production doesn't have enough layers. I'm like, but then I grew up and I was like, I grew up and I was like, but wait, that serves a purpose. Like, we need good music to play over the speakers in a mall that people can enjoy themselves to and not have to think about so hard that they have to sit down and analyze it, you know?
He did a quintuplet there. What?
Yeah, like imagine going to the mall and like hearing like a Ariana Grande song with a like septuplet swing that like goes to like the like secondary dominant like and like changes. Like if an Ariana Grande song was a Jacob Collier song and they were playing, I love Jacob Collier, but like if you heard that in the mall, you might not like the vibe of the mall. Like, you need certain music for certain things, so that's why I think there's no like bad music. Everything serves a purpose, and I just hope you like my purpose.
I think that's a great spot to wrap up.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming, man.
Dude, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
We
Yeah, my agent needs me to go. This is bad for publicity. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, my people hit your people. Bye.
What? Okay. On My Brain is Lasers,
Yeah.
what is the word that is censored?
Truthfully, I just said I'ma hit somebody with an unused butter sock, and then I bleeped it out. Maybe I was thinking about someone, maybe I wasn't. You never know.
So it was a person.
You wouldn't hit an object with an unused butter sock, would you?
What is an unused butter sock?
You know iCarly? One of the characters in iCarly, her name is Sam. She was a very violent-natured person, and she used to beat people with a stick, with a sock that was full of solid butter. So I was just thinking about that. Honestly, My Brain is Lasers was like an exercise in like saying the weirdest things I possibly could, one after the other.